Good Material by Dolly Alderton is a book about a depressed stand-up comic who can't understand why his girlfriend has left him. So is this book a laugh riot, or should it be booed off the stage? Hi, I'm Amanda, and this is Spineless Books, your one-stop shop for all things audiobook. Now, Good Material by Dolly Alderton has been all over the place on top recommendation lists. It's in every bookstore, and I didn't really know what the premise was, but I feel like the cover's kind of been following me around, so I decided to give it a try. The book follows Andy, a struggling stand-up comedian who's hopelessly in love with Jen. Now, Jen and Andy have been together for a while, and he is blindsided when she breaks up with him. He starts to sort of treat it like a detective mystery, trying to figure out why she's left him, and solve essentially what to him seems like a mystery. Now, Jen and Andy, as a couple, also had best friends as a couple, so their best friends sort of get caught in the middle of all of this drama, and they are very much involved. While I would say this book had some fairly funny moments, I would describe it as more clever than comical. It's not really laugh out loud funny like I had the impression it was. It's really an interesting write-up of Andy's inner psyche, and Alderton does a great job representing that. I was very interested in the arc that he made throughout the book, and also his just intense determination that this breakup couldn't be right. In my opinion, Andy's pathetic, but not so pathetic that I was irritated by him. It's really hard to say whether I like him, hate him, empathize with him, think he's an idiot, because you really only get an impression of Andy from Andy's reaction to everyone around him's point of view about him. So it's sort of a really one-sided character, but I don't know, it sort of worked. The book doesn't really have a lot of action. It's much more talk and small scenes, but there were a lot of minor characters who I found intriguing, particularly Andy's roommate. I don't want to give too much away about him, but he's just a really fascinating character, and I think he is the character who best helps portray the arc that Andy makes throughout the story, even though he's a minor character and really just a supporting role. I think he's the most important supporting role, though. The book is primarily narrated by Arthur Darvill, with just a little bit by Vanessa Kirby. Now, I think Darvill does a really good job with this. He's got the right sort of subtle tone, if that makes sense. He's not somebody with intense inflection or really dramatic performance, but he does a really good job of conveying the range of emotions that Andy is going through throughout the story. He kind of speeds up at the right times, and he gets more emphatic at the right times, even though he's well within the range of normal vocalization that you or I would go through when we're not narrating a book. While I was listening to this book, I found myself having a little bit of a conflict. It wasn't actually while I was listening, but while I was preparing to listen. There were times that I was like, I really don't want to listen to this. And then there were times that I was super excited. Most of the time I fell somewhere in the middle. That sort of apathy about going forward in the book, I think mostly came from the slow speed of the arc. It's not that the book was boring, and when I put it on, I enjoyed it, but there was something about it that just wasn't really pulling me to continue listening with like a voracious speed. I just was like, all right, I'll get to it when I get to it. But I think that sort of feels right for this book. When you think about it, the book is really interesting as far as subject matter goes. You have a woman author writing about what a man goes through in a breakup. Now, I don't know about you, but I have very rarely heard stories in which the man is devastated in a breakup and you get to follow what he goes through. I've heard that many times for women, like, hi, women are devastated and this is what happens and they fall apart and then they pick themselves back up. But this was a really interesting perspective of how this happens for a man. Now, obviously it's a fiction novel and it's not representative of every man who's ever gone through a breakup. But I really liked the way Alderton wrote his supporting cast. His group of male friends and the way that they support him or don't at times, was really interesting. It was also a really interesting commentary on what happens as friends who've been friends a long time start to hit different phases in life. Some are married, some have kids, some are single, and how does that impact their long-term relationship, and how are they able to support each other again or not, and does it work? I think this book nailed the difficulty of needing something from your friends that they used to be able to provide for you and being in a place where they can no longer support you in the way they used to. It's sort of a devastating rite of passage. If you pick this up thinking you're going to be reading a comedy, you're probably going to be disappointed. It's his job in the book, and he is a comedian, but it's not really a funny book. If you pick it up, however, thinking you're going to see an unusual portrait of male grief, I think you'll be pretty satisfied with this one. Alderton writes great characters, and I think she does a really good job of keeping them ambiguous enough that they feel real. You don't know everything about everyone, you know just enough, and I think that works. I would pick up another one of Alderton's novels, but I think this will be my last read for Good Material. I feel like I got out of it what I needed to get out of it, and I'm not sure I need to revisit it. But remember, you might love what I hate and hate what I love, so make your own opinion. But thanks for listening to mine. I hope you like and subscribe, it really helps the channel. Thanks so much. See you next time.